Welcome back to What the Film.
What
I'm
the
your
film?
host, Logan Thompson, joined as always by the one and only.
Ethan Kaufman. Hello, everybody. I don't know what that was.
And
Hi.
I don't know what that was either. That was a lot of energy right there, Ethan.
That was a choice. That was certainly a choice.
That was certainly a choice. Sorry. Ethan and I have been talking about a song called Poop Burger for the past 10 minutes. Because we're in this thing called Music League, and that is essentially like you have a group of like 10 to 15 people, and you all submit a song to like this like group, and then it anonymously puts the song onto a playlist, shuffles them, and then everybody listens to the songs and then votes on them with either up or down votes. And this was around where it was like supposed to be bad songs, and one of the submissions, which wasn't either of us, was a song called Poop Burger. And
classic.
Yeah, I can't get it out of my head now.
Yeah.
Poop.
I need to know who submitted it so I can
I do
thank
too.
them for changing my life.
Yeah, my guess was Jamie.
Possibly.
Yeah, nobody listening to this has any idea who that is. But
nobody knows who that is, but there was also a song in this round submitted. It's called I Glued My Balls to My Butthole Again,
Yes.
Country Edition. Also a banger. We had a lot of bangers.
We had a lot of bangers. We could just mention the other ones. My pal Foot, big recommendation. Worship Me, another big recommendation.
I feel like we should talk about Venom by Eminem from the hit film Venom, given that this is a movie podcast, and that is really the only movie adjacent song on this playlist.
I mean, somebody submitted Venom, and I don't like that person because Venom does not fit how bad this playlist should be. Venom is just like funny, but not like bad because it's Venom. But
then we got Jojo Siwa and AJR and Jason Aldean. This was quite the listening experience.
It was quite the listening experience. But anyways, I don't want to talk too much about music. This is a movie podcast, but just got to do one more Venom. Okay, so speaking of Venom, let's shift over to more Marvel, because Joe and Anthony Russo are in talks to be directing the upcoming Avengers movies. Pretty exciting, at least in my opinion, because these are the steady hands that really made Infinity War and Endgame work. They made Winter Soldier, which I think it might still be considered by a lot of people the best Marvel movie. And then they also made Civil War. So that's 4 like really solid Marvel movies. And the thing is like they're kind of the perfect Marvel directors, where yes, they have a directorial touch and a creative touch, but they work really well when it's not all entirely their vision, when they have a guiding artistic or story driven hand. That's why they've been so successful as producers, where they produce like everything everywhere all at once, but and that was also why they were successful with Marvel. But on their own, they haven't had a lot of huge successes since.
But Logan, Endgame. The Gray Man. Can't forget about the Gray Man.
Do you want to call the Gray Man a huge success, Ethan?
No, I don't.
Yeah, okay. Just double checking.
I do think though like what you said is true. I think they're very consistent with Marvel, and what makes them great is their ability to sort of mold their blockbuster style towards really a lot of the bigger team up movies. Where like I would still probably say Infinity War is my favorite MCU movie, and I think a big reason it works as well as it does is because you have so many different styles of like, you have the Thor from Thor Ragnarok, which is like Taika Waititi's brainchild pretty much. You have James Gunn's Guardians, and you have all of these other characters all coming together with it just feels cohesive, and like they are combined in a very good way, where like everybody's going off doing their own thing, but tonally you never lose sight of the larger picture. And I think I trust the Russos to do that again, whatever the next Avengers movies are bringing. I think they just have a knack for balancing all of these characters and still making a film feel like a film, and not like 6 short films kind of compact into one product.
That's how I feel as well. I think the only other like director who I think like I could feel very confident in saying would do a pretty solid job with the next Avengers movie is Sean Levy.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not Sean, or Sean
Or,
Levy's one of them. But
yeah.
I meant to say John Watts, but I was thinking Sean
Okay.
Levy because of
Yeah.
Deadpool and
Because
Wolverine.
you're
But
thinking
they
John
both kind
Watts
of
because
fit
of
the
No Way
mood.
Home.
Yeah, I'd say, but I'd
Yeah.
also say that after Deadpool and Wolverine, well, you could probably throw Sean Levy into that mix in the sense where there's a lot of characters coming from a lot of different types of movies that had a lot of different types of visions, and both of those directors are the directors of movies that put those all together. Deadpool and Wolverine is about to be one of those films, and then that's what No Way Home was. And I think No Way Home too, like really had like a very strong vision in certain moments and really captured that Spider-Man grief like the previous ones weren't able to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think John wants to be an amazing Avengers director, but
I
the
think,
Russos
yeah.
are the best choice.
Just because of their experience with the Avengers specifically,
Exactly.
where like I do think John Watts would be good, but it's also he did an Avengers movie where all of the Avengers are just different Spider-Men, and I don't know
Yeah,
how that would translate to a much larger team up that is with all of these other characters that again tonally are just very different from each other as opposed to different versions of the same character. And I think I don't know, like the Russos, I don't think their style is nearly as flashy as a lot of other Marvel directors, but I think again, it's when you are balancing so much, they are very good hands to be in
I
because I
agree.
think they care much less about putting their own personal stamp on it and about just making a good solid action blockbuster
Exactly.
where you can let a lot of the actors and writers and visual effects artists really be the stars. And I think for an Avengers movie, that's what you need.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And I guess moving on to the other piece of news that we wanted to talk about, if you don't know who this person is, then let's introduce you to a
Chris
very
Stuckman.
well respected, critic, Chris Stuckman.
Sorry.
It's okay. So he's been doing YouTube movie criticism for a really long time. He's somebody that I personally look up to immensely as somebody who's trying to break into that mold in that field. He kind of came up with another big critic, Jeremy Johns. I feel like came up together and like at
Yeah.
about the same time. So Johns has kind of shifted to just being this cool dad guy. He just watches cool movies and whatnot, and like tries to be cool. And I love him, but he's not like a film guy. Stuckman on the other hand always has presented himself as this sort of child of cinema. Just
Yeah.
somebody who really grew up with just such a deep understanding and comprehension of the art, and you can see that in his reviews and his respect for the filmmakers. And like you could see years ago that he had the potential to shift into being more of a filmmaker rather than a film reviewer. And now here we are, where his first feature film, Shelby Oaks, is going to be distributed by Neon in 2025.
Hype.
So just really fantastic news. I'm just really
Yeah.
happy for a guy like him, and I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's someone that like I had been watching ever since I got into film, which at this point is like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously there's been a lot of criticism about him lately just because he used to give scores during reviews and used to do a lot of negative reviews, and because he's now trying to break into the industry, he's kind of stopped himself from doing that because he doesn't want to like talk negatively about an
Yeah.
industry that he's trying to put himself into. But it's just really inspiring to see him at this stage. It was really cool seeing this news for the first time, because he's someone who not only has such an appreciation for film as a whole, but also specific genres too. Like he's obviously a huge horror fan, a huge action
Mm-hmm.
fan, and those are both genres that I'm also very passionate about. And
Yeah.
so it's just nice seeing him grow to this level where like this just screened at Fantastic Fest and it sounds fantastic. And
It
obviously the
does.
fact that it got picked up by Neon clearly shows that you know, they have confidence in this, where
Yeah.
it's not just being viewed as another YouTuber trying to make a movie, but more on the level of like some of the bigger success stories out of the last couple of years. And I have hope for him.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, what's also really nice is that this slate of neon movies looks to be, or neon horror movies next year, looks to be becoming really promising. Where like Shelby Oaks is being paired with The Monkey as the other big neon horror movie, and The Monkey is coming from Osgood Perkins, who just did Longlegs. And yeah, that film is coming out in February 21st next year. So that just seems like kind of a big deal. Yeah. And that's going to be followed up by Shelby Oaks, and then possibly maybe They Follow at the end of the year. Sequel to It Follows. So just overall really awesome that it's being paired with horror movies that are just that big, you know?
Can I just also say this statement has no substance at all. Shelby Oaks is such a good name for a movie. It just sounds so good. This was me after I came out of Longlegs. I wrote a whole paragraph on Letterboxd just about the main character's name being Lee Harker and just how that's the best character name ever. This just scratches that urge so much. I don't know what it is. Just bring it to me. Just bring it on right now, please.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this film, and I hope it's great. With that being said, I think we should shift over to some box office discussion.
Yes.
But that's going to be starting off with kind of making a correction from next week.
Some bad news, yes, which is that my really fun, super cool, mega sexy box office stat that I had last week, which was that last weekend's box office was, for the first time in a year, the top 5 movies all made $10 million. That's just not true. We got the actuals, and Fly Me to the Moon only made $9.4 million, which means it was only the top 4, which means I was wrong. And we will now have officially gone a year without this happening. And who knows when it will happen again. So we'll see.
Maybe it can happen in August. We have a really crowded slate of movies in August. And we were actually just talking about that before we started recording. And we'll be talking about that, I think, next week with the August movie auction. So,
the box office.
Yes, the box office. Where we're going to start with the one movie we're talking about today, Twisters.
For those who are only listening to this, I'm currently doing the little hand signal that they do in the movie to indicate that there's like a twister.
A twister that's coming around. So
we got
if you don't know about Twisters, yes, it is the sequel to Twister, a film from 1996 about tornadoes. It was a film with some fantastic special effects for the time, but special effects now are just better. This film was just really, really solid. It was shot on film, directed by a wonderful director, the director of Minari, who I'm forgetting his name. I've had it on like the tip of my tongue, and I've known it for days. And then in the moment, I forgot his name, which is horrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah, Lee Isaac-Chung just did a great job with this film. I mean, I heard his story, how his parents immigrated from South Korea, then he grew up in Colorado, and just kind of growing up in the Midwest, he has an understanding for that type of culture, and I think was able to capture that with his representation of like Oklahoma in Twisters.
Yeah.
So, great film.
Yes. This is keeping in line with, I think, a big story of 2024, which is that, like, yes, we have obviously like Despicable Me 4, which just came out. We had A Quiet Place, stuff like that. But I think this is a very good year kind of following last year, where a lot of the big movies, they are kind of sequels, remakes, reboots, whatever. But at their heart, they are very kind of original feeling movies, and that they are satisfying that urge that audiences have for non-superhero IP. And I think, like, I haven't seen the original Twister, but from what I understand, this is pretty much just that again,
Yeah, that's
but
what I've heard too.
2024.
And like maybe with like more heart to it.
Yeah, but
It
like
just takes
also,
itself a little more seriously.
as someone who hadn't seen it, I didn't need to see it. Like,
Yeah.
there are really like no callbacks to it. There are no moments where I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm sure if I watched the original Twister, I know. Like, you can just go in and watch this and get attached to the characters and have a really good time and get invested in their character arcs and want to see them defeat the evil weather. And it's a blast. And seeing it in IMAX on Saturday was like, it's a great time at the theater. Go see it. It's why it made $80 million. People want stuff like this now, and that's good because this is good. And like,
Yeah.
Glen Powell's a movie star. I felt the Glenergy the whole time.
Oh my God, yeah.
We stay winning.
We do. I mean, I hope that this can really help make Daisy Edgar-Jones a star as well. She's great. She's such a standout in this film. I found her to be more of a standout than Glen Powell.
I might even agree with that. Yeah.
Like, I seriously, during my review, I could just not stop talking about her.
I also like, she's. I want to highlight, even though it was like a very small supporting role, I want to highlight David Cornsweet really quickly.
I was gonna highlight
because he is the most punchable douchebag in this.
Yeah.
But he's great. He was amazing as that. But two, I really love how, like, between this and Pearl, all I know him in is stuff where he's terrible. And it makes me really excited to see him as Superman, where he's like this paragon of like justice and all that is good in humanity.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know. I feel like this is like Chris Evans being Captain America right after being Lucas Lee and Scott Pilgrim. It's going to be such a 180, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited
that's all I have
to see it too. I mean, after Superman, depending on how much more stuff we'll find Cornsweet in, we might have to do a thing like what we're going to be doing with Glen Powell on Friday, where it's a kind of early career David Cornsweet ranked. You know, wouldn't that be fun? It's like ranking his 6 movies.
What else has he been in besides that?
He's been in a couple of things. There's a movie called The Greatest Hits that came out on Hulu. Okay. He was in that. There's a Netflix movie called Look Both Ways. He plays a guy named Jake. Oh, here's a big one. A movie called Affairs of State, where he is the top billed actor. Came out in 2018.
He's going to be top billed in Superman.
Yeah, this is... in Affairs of State is, I think, the only top billed Cornsweet movie except Superman. So I think that means we're going to have to watch Affairs of State.
I think we just rank these 2 movies.
Just Superman and Affairs of State?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be higher?
Definitely Affairs of State.
Yeah.
We're going to get into a 2-hour discussion on Affairs of State, which is longer than the movie, but
we're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
We're going to make it happen. So
yeah, how many
in this theoretical ranking, how many movies do we have?
I say 2. I say we only do where he's top billed, so it's just 2.
Well, we didn't do that for Powell, though.
I don't care. He's not at the Glen Powell caliber yet, so he doesn't deserve to have his supporting roles counted on the ranking.
I think he'd get 6.
I don't know. He's a great that guy though. Like, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite that guys in movies.
Yeah, because he's just that guy.
Yeah. I also quickly want to highlight Kiernan Shipka, who now 2 weeks in a row has appeared in like 5 minutes of the big new release and then been killed off.
Anywho, I think that's kind of all we got. We really went on a huge
We didn't even talk about the movie. We just talked about like all of the supporting characters.
I mean, let's talk about the actual movie for a second.
I mean, I feel like I already said what I wanted to say.
So I'll talk about the actual movie for a second then. What I love is seeing a blockbuster that genuinely tries. It tried to convey a message about chasing dreams, about fighting your fears, but riding your fears, because it's Glen Powell, so he's apparently really into saying riding.
You don't face your fears, you ride them.
Yes, you do. And it just works.
Yeah.
You know, it does a really good job at just telling that. in showing this whole chasing dreams and riding fears kind of message of the film, and I just really appreciated it. I want to see more blockbusters like Twisters.
Me too.
And less like, what's a bad blockbuster that's pretty recent?
I mean, we could get into the next movie on our box office. We could talk about Despicable Me 4.
I don't want to say Despicable Me 4 because we haven't seen it. So the next movie is Despicable Me 4, made $23.8 million, 574.4 worldwide total, dropped 45.4% at the box office. Oh, wait. One other bit about Twisters.
Yeah.
So now we're circling back to Twisters after.
Oh my God, we're circling back like a twister.
Yes, we are twisting right back to Twisters.
Holy cow.
Third biggest domestic opening of the year. Right behind the 82.5 from Dune Part 2. So solid. Just, pretty great for Twisters overall. I mean, I don't think anybody expected it to do this well.
No.
I was expecting it to maybe do as well as like a Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I was gonna go higher just because like projections put it higher, and like I've been seeing the trailer everywhere, so it's like I was predicting like high 60s, maybe low 70s, but this was still like really surprising.
Yeah, but like now it's on track to make like it could make $700 million.
Totally,
it could make more because it opened like
if it opened right around Dune,
like Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
But it didn't make that much internationally. It only made 43 under 43 actually.
Okay.
So we'll see how the international run for this goes. It might.
I mean, it also doesn't need to make a crap ton to even make a profit, though.
So no, yeah, it's in a really good place, which is awesome. So we'll probably get more movies like Twisters. I don't know why, but I randomly thought, what if we get like a new Jaws movie now?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't want or need that.
I mean, what if it's just like a good shark movie that happens to be called Jaws?
Well, if it's a good shark movie, they should call it something other than Jaws so that we can have another good shark movie.
Yeah, but the difference is that if it's called Jaws, it'll make $100 million more.
That's true, but also I am too lazy to come up with like a decent argument against that. No, we're just gonna put a big old no on it.
Like, what if that movie Under Paris on Netflix was actually called Jaws: Under Paris?
It still would have gained no traction discussion-wise because it was dumped on Netflix and buried under like 7-8 rows of stuff that nobody watches that's been on Netflix for a year, instead of them highlighting it at the top of the page like they should every new release.
Yeah.
Netflix, if you're listening to this, take notes.
Yeah, they're not doing that enough with Beverly Hills Cop X Love. It's not doing that well, which is sad.
I had to scroll down 10 rows to find Hitman the day it dropped.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. Speaking of Hitman, I watched it a third time.
I did see that. I was like, what is he doing? He's watching it again for the Powell ranking?
Well, no, it's just one of those movies where when I'm with people, I recommend it.
Fair.
It's just like that good Netflix movie that I think everyone would like, and
You're still at the point though where you have people to recommend it to who haven't seen it.
Yeah. People I'd never met before, or one person I'd never met before,
and that's enough.
Yeah. So
Despicable Me 4.
Yes, we already talked about that. So actually, Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2
at number 3 made $12.8 million, $1.44 billion at the worldwide box office. Now it's like its total.
It's a lot.
It's gonna pass Frozen 2 and become the highest grossing animated movie of all time at some point.
I mean, technically not though. Technically, the Lion King remake is.
Yes, but not counting the Lion King remake, it will become that.
Please get that out of here.
Yeah. At number 4 is Long Legs, held really well for a horror movie, dropping 47.8%, made $11.7 million this weekend. I was really worried about Long Legs, if I'm being honest, because I just assumed that all of the buzz would wear off because there were so many people complaining about this not being the movie that the advertising suggested it to be. That was not
No.
true. People went to go and see this anyways.
Yeah.
So those complaints seem to be loud but few.
It also added
that's
theaters.
Awesome. Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it added almost 350 theaters, which I'm assuming is just because it was doing so well.
Beautiful. Love to see that for Long Legs. Yeah. We need more advertising like what we got for Long Legs, and we need it for original films. And when we get that, people will go to see these original films, because the issue is that original films are marketed like every other movie, so they don't actually feel original, new, or refreshing because they're presented the exact same way as your run-of-the-mill new franchise film. So I really hope that people take notes from Long Legs.
Just lesson to all filmmakers: put Nick Cage in your movie,
or that
market it like you didn't get Nick Cage for your movie, and it'll do well because people will want to see Nick Cage maybe be in there.
Yes, people will.
Quiet Place Day One.
Yes, Quiet Place Day One. It made $6.1 million. I don't have its international numbers on here. That is a bad thing.
Worldwide it's at
241.4. You didn't do the point.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but we did Jinx just then, so Jinx. Yeah. I think you owe me a soda.
I don't have a soda.
I don't drink soda, so I think that works out.
Me neither. So.
Yeah. I think you owe me a water.
Ooh.
How about that?
I mean, do I pass it through this call? How do I get it to you?
Just like the next time I see you, like at school.
We missed Prime Day. It's gonna cost you now.
Why is it gonna cost me? You owe it to me.
But delivery and shipping.
Okay, well, anyways, moving on. Fly Me to the Moon made $3.3 million, $30.7 million worldwide total, dropped a whopping 64.5%.
It's a lot.
I was hearing that Apple and Sony were thinking, oh, this will be another Ticket to Paradise, another When the Crawdaddies Sing, where it just holds really well. But no. It dropped almost 65%.
It's a lot.
That doesn't happen for like rom-com type of movies.
No.
I wonder if there's like a fundamental thing that people just have against going to see a movie with Apple attached to it.
I think it's just that it's long. It's really long for its genre.
Yeah.
The reviews weren't great.
But they weren't bad either.
They weren't bad, but they were middle of the road enough to where like anybody who was maybe gonna see it, but not for sure gonna see it, probably saw those reviews and were like, okay, I'll wait.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe Box Office Mojo got this wrong, and the Long Legs and Fly Me to the Moon holds are actually supposed to be switched. Because there's no way a rom-com dropped 60 and there's no way a horror movie dropped 40.
Maybe if Fly Me to the Moon was advertised uniquely, it could have done better.
That's generally how it goes.
Yeah. Maybe if they put some advertisements in space.
Because it's a space movie.
Because it's a space movie. Advertise it to the Martians.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
La La Land could have made more if they did that.
Oh my god, it could have. Yeah, La La Land's a space movie.
Toy Story 2, if they had advertised it as a space movie, could have broken $1 billion.
Yes. This is your cue to go and watch your space movies episode if you haven't already. Go do that.
Yes.
Fun episode. At number
Bad
7,
Bad Boys.
Yes. 2.7 million, 388 worldwide total, dropped 37.1%. People just want to watch this movie, which is great. Love it for them.
Yep.
After that, Bad News. No idea what this movie is, but it made $1.1 million at the box office. And then we have 2 movies that made under $1 million. Maxine at number 9, 819,000 for 17.8 million worldwide total, dropped 60.4%. And then The Bike Riders, 701,000 with a 34.4 worldwide total, went up 75.7%.
Fun box office stat now. This is the first time in like 5 weeks that happened, that there were 2 movies that didn't even make $1 million that are in the 10.
And both of those movies were movies that like, oh, well, no, I don't mean, sorry. I got really confused for a second. It is the first time in a while where like 2 movies in the same week. I thought you were talking about the Bike Riders and the Fall Guy.
Nah.
Because a couple weeks ago, the Fall Guy had a very similar situation where it went up like a huge whopping % and got itself back into the top 10. And now this is happening with the Bike Riders. My guess, and it seems like that could be true, is drive-in movie theaters.
Possibly. I still feel like that's so oddly specific, though.
Yeah, but just what else could it be?
I don't know. I feel like drive-in movie theaters wouldn't just be like exclusively promoting the Bike Riders, though.
Yeah, but like they might just be getting movies kind of late, and maybe it's like a thing where studios just kind of give them like one big movie at a time. I don't know.
Well, that's not, because like the drive-ins that I've been to, like it's either like throwback like 80s type stuff, or it's just a regular theater, but it's a drive-in, and it's like you can see it there as opposed to a regular theater. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is just a really weird thing that happened that I'm trying to find a way to explain.
And it's happened twice now. In the past couple of weeks. It's very odd.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about one movie that has fallen out of the top 10 thanks to the Bike Riders. Horizon in American
Thank you, Bike Riders.
Chapter 1 has fallen out of the top 10, but to Kevin Costner's delight, is currently number 1 on the iTunes charts.
Of course it is.
People are watching this. It's awesome.
I'm sure they are.
People are discovering the magic of Horizon and American Saga on their televisions.
I'm discovering the magic of it. It fell 69%, and I think that's pretty incredible and worthy of discussion. But
maybe that's this movie's way of telling you to go and get it on iTunes and watch it.
When actuals come out, it may have not only dropped 69%, it may have made this weekend $690,000, which would be pretty incredible.
That would be incredible. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Anywho, next weekend, we got a pretty big movie coming out. You want to guess?
Are you asking the listeners to like guess what it is right now?
Yeah,
in this moment of silence.
In this moment of silence, you need to guess what this movie is, listeners.
It's Deadpool and Wolverine. I can see it on the dock, on the shared Google doc.
No way, on the doc that we use, it says Deadpool and Wolverine.
I also just knew it was coming out next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people do at this point. Like, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. I got my ticket a month ago.
Most people I'm actually gonna like struggle to find tickets, I think, for this.
I think you are too. Like, you're not seeing this on a premium screen.
No,
I think if you want to see it on a regular screen, it'll be fine. But to see it on a premium screen,
should we actually in real time? Should we in real time check the AMC app and see how full these theaters are going to be?
Sure, go for it. Let's see it.
What do we got?
While you're doing it,
Ames.
Because I'm betting that you cannot see this. You definitely can't see it on a Dolby. But I'm also guessing that you can't get a good IMAX seat.
If I were to go alone, I could get a good IMAX seat.
Oh, really?
For the 9 p.m. Friday showing. I wouldn't be able to sit with anybody because it's pretty full, but let's see.
Oh, your dad would be bummed by that.
Yeah, what does just regular digital have at 6:30 on Friday? Oh, we're good. I don't know if our people watching can see. We're good.
Yeah.
We're so good.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, though. Like, regular, you'll get seats.
I'm okay. I saw Twisters in IMAX. I don't need to see everything in IMAX.
Gotcha. I saw Twisters in AMC Prime.
Sure.
Have you ever seen a movie in AMC Prime?
I don't even know what that is.
It's essentially AMC's Dolby, but it's not Dolby. So they call it AMC
Is it better
Prime.
or worse than Dolby?
I think it's worse than Dolby.
Okay.
I think it's
do you just not have Dolby? You do.
Well, I do, but I happened to see it at a theater that didn't have a Dolby. They had a Prime.
Okay.
I think it's their excuse. Like, it's your way of saying, "Oh, we have a premium screen with like cool looking speakers that then sound the same as regular speakers."
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw Babylon in an AMC Prime in Manhattan.
That's good.
I
in
did do
Manhattan.
that.
That's swag.
Yeah. So
I
second
think I
movie ever in
just
an
saw it
AMC Prime.
twice in a regular theater.
Whoa. I saw it in a Prime and then saw it in a regular theater.
Swaggy daggity.
I think back-to-back days. A lot of Babylon.
Yeah.
All right. Anywho, I think that's all we got for films.
Yes.
I'm going to let you ramble about The Boys for a few minutes. I haven't seen The Boys, but you're about to ramble and spoil The Boys. And I'm just going to sit here and take it.
I'm going to ramble. I'm not going to ramble too much because even though I have been given the green light by you to spoil it, I still don't want to. Okay. And I also just think, like, if we're not having a full-on person-to-person discussion, I don't have a lot I want to say. Okay. But just to ramble off my general thoughts. I think it's good. I think it's pretty good. I think for a show that has been very consistently great since day one, it immediately set itself apart as the worst season so far. But that is only because it had multiple flaws that I could actually point out. I think there are a lot of subplots that don't really go anywhere or that go somewhere, and it's just not particularly interesting. I think a lot of the Frenchie stuff is underwhelming. I think a lot of the Kimiko stuff is underwhelming. I think parts of the Huey subplot are really good, but there are other parts that aren't. I think the stuff with Newman also similarly, sometimes really good, sometimes not. Depends on how it fits into the larger picture. Yeah. I think what they did with A-Train is amazing. And I think finally pays off a lot of what he had been getting in seasons 2 and 3.
That's good.
And I'm very curious to see what happens in season 5 with that. I think The Deep is hilarious, and he has always been a character that is just so easy and fun to laugh at. But I think with a lot going on this season that I wasn't so into, this was the first time that I'd ever thought, can we get back to The Deep? And I think that Chase Crawford is so funny and so good as this character. So that's that. I think the stuff with Homelander continuously remains like the best part of the show. And what happens with him in episode 4, which I've already watched like 4 video essays on, because it really is, I think, the thing of the season that has people talking, I think is incredible. I think Anthony Starr needs an Emmy now. I think he needed it years ago, but I think he needs it now. He's so good in that episode. No, never.
Oh, wait, because it's not in this year, though, isn't? I don't think it counts for the Emmys this year. I think it counts for the Emmys next year.
Won't happen next year still, but it should.
Yeah. Maybe season 5?
Yeah. I think a lot of the Butcher stuff I'm conflicted on because, again, Carl Urban was made for this role, and he is so good with his accent that I will not even attempt to do here because I will blunder it very hard.
What if you did do it?
Oi, Yui.
It's just your Jason Statham accent.
It kind of is.
Same
I'm
one.
now realizing that.
There's
they have
not
similar
a
accents, though. They have similar accents. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's role in the Butcher subplot isn't great, and there's a twist that happens in episode 6 that I saw coming from a mile away that I know a lot of other people did, and it's kind of underwhelming because it's played off as this incredibly, like it's supposed to change the game with what this means now for his character. It's not that great, but I think, again, just the... Even in the subplots I don't like, the acting from everyone is just continuously one of the strongest parts of the show. Mm-hmm. And so I would say there's never really a part where that falters at all. Kind of a minor bit, Black Noir, who obviously got killed off at the end of season 3, what they do with him here is so funny. And anytime he is on screen, it's like some of the funniest stuff of the entire show. And I don't want to spoil it for you if you don't know what I'm talking about, because it is so unexpected, but really funny. I think the new characters are very good, and I think Sister Sage and Firecracker are like the 2 big ones. And I think as the show as a whole kind of delves even more political than it had been, which a lot of people online are like, The Boys is woke now, and it's like, no, it's always been woke.
Yeah.
If you didn't see it till now, that's on you. I think like it lacks a lot of the subtlety that past seasons have had with the political commentary, and it loses a bit of the charm with that because it was more clever in season 3 than it is here. But I also think like it has balls to go as far as it does in many places. I think the fact that like the finale was literally called Assassination Run and has an attack on the president's life, and they had to change the name of the episode and do multiple warnings before putting it out because of what happened like just a week ago. Like they're pretty on the nose with this that's happening. But like back to the new characters, I think the utilization of them in making the A plot more political, I guess, because even in season 3, like all of the Newman stuff, all of that, the political subplots were kind of background, and like the whole Soldier Boy like mission to kill Homelander, all of that was kind of at the forefront. They are being blended now in a much stronger way, where you really can't get the soup stuff and the Vought stuff without all the political stuff. I think part of it is really good, just the way that they're blending that even more than they had. I think the stuff with Mother's Milk is great. I think the fact that everyone thought Laz Alonso was like recast because he lost weight and shaved was really funny just watching this week to week for the first 2 weeks. But I think what they do with his character is really cool, where like, because he's always been someone who's seemed like a leader and like he could lead the group, but it's very clear that he can't because he's really the voice of reason, and he's the one that brings the boys together and the glue that holds the group together with all these big personalities, but that doesn't mean he's going to lead them. And I think I love how that was shown in like the whole A-Train subplot. He's a very big part of, but not in that he's the leader of the boys, and that he explicitly isn't. And I think that's a good moment of that subplot. The Starlight stuff is good. Her relationship with Firecracker, it's interesting seeing how that unravels. And yeah, I think this season was very hit or miss in terms of like if what they're doing with certain characters works or if it doesn't. But the parts that do work are just as great as past seasons. And even like slower episodes or subplots that you don't really love where they're going, it's never bad. It's just like it feels worse than it is because of what we've come to expect from this show.
Yeah.
And while I did complain a little bit about season 3 of The Bear last week for this reason, I don't think the season is going to be looked at better after season 5 comes out, but I do think it is setting the stage for a very compelling finale. Like the way that this season ends, it's such a huge turning point, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing where it goes. And I'm upset that we got to wait 2 years for it, because I want to know now what's going to happen with everybody. But I'm very curious to see where they take it from here. And yeah, that's what I got.
That's beautiful.
I tried so hard to avoid spoilers. If you have seen the show, you know what I'm referring to about everything.
Yeah,
that's what I got.
So I have one question.
Please ask.
A spoiler question, because I got it spoiled for me. So people listening, if you haven't seen the show, then click off because this is kind of a spoiler. All right, Huey Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. What do you know about it? Because he's
just that he's Spider-Man somehow. I don't even know if it's like real powers.
There is
like all manufactured.
The Boys parody version of Spider-Man makes an appearance,
and it's Huey. And
it's not Huey. It's some other guy who immediately, like, he's irrelevant. They just kind of knock him out and take the suit because they have to infiltrate a place. And so Huey is just wearing his suit, pretending to be him, and gets into because like Webb's sticky, gets into a very sticky situation.
Okay,
it's worth it.
Disappointed because I was really excited for Huey to be a Spider-Man guy. And, like,
no, you see some of the spider powers, and it's really funny and kind of disturbing the way that they do it, but it's still silly. But Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm excited
Yep.
for that. All right. Well, I think that's all we got. It's like 11 p.m.
It's late.
Tune in on Friday for Glen Powell Ranked.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be a blast.
My number one Glen Powell is Glen Powell. What about yours?
Mine is also Glen Powell. Hot
Because you said we're doing Glen Powell ranked. I'm assuming that's where we rank all the Glen Powells, and like the main actor Glen Powell, probably my favorite.
Yeah. So. What about Ron from Hitman, Glen Powell?
So that's the same Glen Powell.
Yeah.
Like playing a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm ranking Ron.
You're ranking Glen Powell characters against Glen Powell himself.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I am.
I would have to say that random guy from Spy Kids 3 is probably my favorite of those.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is Spy Kids 3 actually going to be on the ranking?
I think it should be.
Do I actually get to talk about it more now?
I think so.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
So hyped.
That being said, we're wrapping things up. I want to go to sleep.